الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أما بعد فالسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, it's my pleasure to be here with the brothers in Cambridge. Exactly last week I came back from Medina, so I've been there for the last 5 years approximately, and I'm here to visit family in the summer and also to do some da'wah work mainly with the Muslim community. And this is maybe my second visit to Cambridge. Visited Cambridge for a course before, but this time I wanted to see more of Cambridge. And mashallah, it's a beautiful city, so you're all very fortunate to live here. And in particular, I wanted to meet some of the youth, as I've been doing around 7 years of youth work, and I'm very interested in working with the youth. As we all know, they are the future, and also 70% of the Muslim community are young people. So hopefully if the young people are firm on the deen and they have a good understanding of the religion and they have good skills as well, they will be good future leaders. Before I start, I wanted to let some of the youth know about one particular project we started that they might be interested in, and it's called Yasin Youth Tours. So this organization has been set up for the youth, and it's a non-profit organization, and it's been set up last year. And what we do is we bring every year around 70 youth in 2 different groups from the ages of 13 all the way to 25, and we take them with us to Mecca and Medina, and we spend around 1 week to 10 days in Mecca and Medina, and in the end of the program we perform Umrah together. It's a 1 week to 10 days program, and every day we do a different activity. So what we do as soon as we arrive to Medina, we get to know each other, we pray Fajr together in Masjid al-Nabawi, and then we go and follow the janazah. So there'll be a dead person, may Allah give you long lives. We will follow the janazah, we'll run with the janazah and go to Baqi'. Baqi' is the graveyard where thousands of companions were buried, and Muslims and the children of the Prophet ﷺ and their wives. We take them there and they bury the people who are dead there, and they get to see it for the first time. And it has a strong impact because the Prophet ﷺ advised us to remember death frequently. After that we come back and we send salam to the Prophet's grave. We say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad, and then we sit down until the sun rises and we read Quran together in a circle. After that we go back to the hotel and we give free breakfast and dinner. We give free breakfast to the youth, and then from Asr to around 10 p.m. we have activities. The program, you get to meet some of the most famous scholars in a private gathering, sometimes in their houses, sometimes we visit them, or we invite them over, or in the Masjid al-Nabawi itself. Some famous mashayikh like Sheikh Abdullah Shinkiti, Sheikh Abdullah Bani'ama, as well as spending time with lots of Medina students from America, Canada, the UK. We also go to the desert. We bring some sheep and we barbecue, or we slaughter some sheep the halal way, and we cook it together, and we wait until the sun sets. We have a reminder, we set a fire, and in the desert you see thousands of stars. So we start remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together. Then while we cook the meat for you, we take you to the middle of the desert and we ride some quad bikes. So we have some races on the quad bikes, and then we have meals together, and then we go back to Medina. It's around half an hour drive. So as well as meeting the scholars, we have some activities such as football, swimming. We have like 5 stars luxurious villas. So we have villa nights, one in Mecca, one in Medina, where there's a nice swimming pool, sauna, table tennis, sports activities. And we have some competitions, some games, some activities for the whole day, as well as football. So this program is educational, it's fun, and it's social. Many of these youth, they come from different parts of the country. They become close friends. So I want you to look up Yasin Youth Tours. You can watch the videos on YouTube, see what we did. Hopefully in October half term we're going to do another one. The prices are the cheapest in the market because we're a non-profit, we don't make profit out of this, we volunteer to do this. As well as we try to bring some donations to make it cheaper. So hotels we cover it, the meals we cover it, we just ask you to pay for the flight ticket and the visa and some parts of the hotel in Mecca. So hopefully you guys can join us inshallah, because we didn't have anyone from Cambridge. We had actually a few people from Cambridge. I wanted to give some advice about connecting to the Quran, and then we can have question and answers, any question and answers related to the youth or anything else inshallah. Firstly, can you put your hand up if you're trying to complete the Quran this Ramadan? Trying to complete reading the Quran this Ramadan. 1, 2, 3, okay. So for some people, they've had this intention in the beginning, I want to complete the Quran, and it sounds easy to do. But all you have to do is 1 juz a day, 20 juz. But now it's the 7th of Ramadan, 1 week has passed. But don't give up, because sometimes when the days pass, we say, khalas, it's going to be too hard for me, it's too late for me to complete the Quran. I can't do 1 juz anymore, because I need to do 7 other juz. But it's still possible, inshallah. So if you didn't start, it's not too late, inshallah. And we should feel a bit of regret that we wasted some time, because really and truly we could have gave half an hour to the Quran. Some of us maybe use social media, some of us met up with friends and wasted hours. So we could have gave half an hour to the Quran. So right now what we have to do to catch up is we have to read 5 pages after each salah. After Fajr, after Dhuhr, 5 pages. Which inshallah will take around maybe 10 minutes. So 10 minutes after each salah, you will read 1 juz and a half. So by around 3-4 days you will catch up. And by the end of the month, inshallah, you would have completed the Quran at least once and a bit, inshallah. So I want everyone to try to make that aim. And perhaps meet up in circles, 2 or 3 of your friends, and each one can read 1 page each. That way you can encourage each other. So a circle of 5, each one can read 1 page each. And because you're fasting, may Allah accept it from you, you don't need lunch breaks. So during your lunch, maybe spend 10 minutes during your break, pray your Salat al-Dhuhr. And after Dhuhr, 10 minutes, each one reads 1 page each. That's 5 pages after the Salah. When you go back home, read another 5 pages. After Maghrib and after Isha as well, read 5 pages. That way, inshallah, you will complete the Quran. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said that each letter that you recite from the Quran is multiplied 10 to 700 times. So, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. If there's 10 letters here, each letter is a hasana. It's 1 good deed. It's 10 hasanat. If you read a whole page, that's 100 hasanat. If you read 200 or 2 pages, that's 200. So completing the Quran, you're going to get around 5 million hasanat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiplies that 10 to 700 times. So 50 million. Times that also by 700. In Ramadan as well, the reward is even more multiplied. So if you want to become a millionaire in hasanat, this is your chance, inshallah. This Ramadan, something very easy for us to do. Secondly, I want to advise on who wants to try to memorize the Quran. Put your hand up. We should all want to memorize the Quran. I want to give a method, inshallah, of how to memorize the Quran, inshallah. And people who went to university and had a part-time job, they were able to achieve that. And university is a very busy time for many people. So hopefully we can all do that. And the younger you are, the more fresh your brain is, mashallah, so you can memorize more Quran. Every day you can spend half an hour, in particular in the morning, because the Prophet ﷺ, he said the 1 hour after Fajr is Mubarak, it's blessed. Anything that you do in that time is blessed. So you can memorize Quran much easier at that time. So if you're able to stay after Fajr for half an hour to memorize half a page at least. Some of you can do 1 page a day easily, but let's say half a page. And read the first verse in that page 7 times. Read it from the Mus'haf. And then the 7th time, bring your baby finger and hide the last 3 words. Okay, so let's say بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. Hide هدى للمتقين with your finger. The next time you recite it hidden. Try to rely on your brain, not on the mushaf. And then you will memorize it easy because you just read it 7 times before that. That way you memorize those 3 last words. Then read that again 3 times covered, with your baby finger covering those last 3 words. That stage now, you memorize those last 3 words. Move on to the 3 words before that. And do it 3 times. That way you remember the whole verse, inshallah. Then recite that verse 7 times by memory, not by the mushaf. Then move to the second verse and do the same thing. However, this time, read it with the first verse by heart, and then read the second verse from the mushaf. Read it 7 times. After you read it 7 times, cover the last 3 words, and read that 3 times, and then cover the 3 words before that, read that 3 times, then read 7 times the first verse and the second verse. Is everyone still with me?
Yeah.
And then do that until you reach half a page. So it could be around 5 verses, 6 verses, 7 verses. This will take you, inshallah, around 20 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes, read the whole half page off by memory 7 times. Inshallah ta'ala, most of us, if not all of us, would have memorized through this method half a page. But now what you have to do is keep it firm. Right now you memorize it. It's easier to memorize than to revise. Right now it's in your brain. If I ask you to recite it, you would recite it to me easily. However, to keep it inside your memory, you need to practice, because the brain is a muscle. The more it practices, the more it exercises, the stronger it becomes. So to make it strong in your memory, you need to revise. So after Fajr, it's in your brain. Try to pray Dhuhr with these verses. And try to pray Asr with these verses. And Maghrib with these verses. That way, inshallah, it's in your brain. And after each Salah, spend 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Read that half a page 7 times by memory. After Asr, read it 7 times. After Maghrib, read it 7 times. After Isha, read it 7 times. And pray with it. By the end of the day, khalas, you memorize half a page. The next day, memorize the other half page using the same method. And with it, revise again 3 times the half page that you memorized the day before that. And then inshallah you would memorize half a page a day. By 2 months, you memorize 1 juz. Next year, inshallah, or 12 months, you would have memorized around 6 ajza from the Quran. However, some of us, after memorizing every day, they become better in memorizing. They're able to memorize 2/3 or a whole page, or even a page and a half. And by 1 year, inshallah, they will memorize 12 juz'u. In 2 years, they completed the Quran. 2 years and a half, 3 years, they completed the Quran. Also join Quran halaqas, Quran circles. We spend around 6 hours a day, every day, for academic studies. Math, science, English, and we don't complain about that. Imagine we spent 6 hours a day in Quran. By 6 months, all of us would have memorized the Quran. And I do advise parents to send their children maybe to Pakistan or to certain countries where they can just focus on memorizing the Quran. Because we give more importance to academic studies than the Quran. We let them study for 4, 5, 6, 7 years without complaining. 6 hours a day. But if we say let's send our children abroad for 6 months, or let's send them to a program for 2, 3 months, in the Quran they will say it's too much. The Quran is first. And the Quran is the basis of all other ulum. And in fact, there was a study by King Saud University. They made a big study on all of the huffaz, those who memorized the Quran at a young age. They found that everyone who memorized the Quran at a young age, they excelled in all of their academic studies. They had A stars in all of the other studies and in universities. So once the child memorizes Quran from a young age, not only this will protect him and give him barakah and blessings from a religious point of view, but also from a dunya point of view. He becomes incredibly smart. According to this research, it shows that they become incredibly smart. They become strong in maths, science, English. Their hifd is so strong. It protects them from sins, it protects them from evil. They become from Ahlul Quran. And Ahlul Quran are the closest people to Allah. the most special people to Allah. So we want our children to be Ahlul Quran. Send them to madrasas 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, it doesn't matter. And give them rewards for every time they memorize a juz. Make a party for them, buy them a cake, buy them a gift. Because the Quran is so important, and we want them to love the Quran, we want them to feel proud and special by memorizing the Quran. So we should give that encouragement and that investment as well. And spend money, it doesn't matter, even if the madrasas charge, no problem, they should charge. Because of the teacher's time, it's worth spending your money on this to make your child Ahlul Quran. And just to remind the parents, if the child memorizes the Quran, you will also get the reward for every ayah he memorized. But not only that, in Jannah he will make shafa'ah for you. He's able to take you out in Yawm al-Qiyamah and intercede for you and bring you with him to Jannah, subhanAllah. If the parent sponsors his son to memorize the Quran and supports him in doing so. And just lastly, it doesn't matter if you're Arab or non-Arab, we can all connect with the Quran. In fact, subhanAllah, I'll just share a story. There was 2 people who were outside or in front of the Kaaba in Mecca. And they were both reading Quran. One was an Arab, one was an Indian person. So the Arab was reciting, reading Quran. Second one, he opened the Quran, he started reading the Quran, and then he started crying. He started tearing and crying. So the Arab said to the Indian person, why are you crying? You're not even Arab. You're Indian. You don't even understand what you're reading. So the Indian person, he said to him, is it not enough to understand what I'm reading is the book of Allah? Is it not enough to just know that what I'm reading is the Quran, revelations from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That should be enough to make any Muslim cry. And he's right. These are revelations, these are the words of Allah. And hopefully after memorizing, or while you're memorizing, try to understand the tafsir of the Quran and the translation, and try to let your children learn Arabic, which is the language of the Quran. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, a great scholar of the past, he said learning Arabic is wajib on the ummah, on the Muslims. Why? Because it is a means to understand the Quran, and all of us should try to understand the Quran. So inshallah, there's around 10 minutes left. If any of the youngsters or anyone else has any questions, any advice they want, school or living in this country, or any question they might have, I came here from London just for you, inshallah. So feel free to ask any question that you like, inshallah. And I think for the sisters, they can send a piece of paper over, inshallah. The brother was asking about the youth Umrah. So we have 2 groups, 2 trips, programs, one for 13 to 18 year olds, and one 18 to 25 year olds. Sometimes we make exceptions for 12 year olds or certain ages, inshallah.
So usually when is this?
Sorry?
In the summer, when it is?
Hopefully in October, half term.
So yearly what? Only once?
We do twice a year. We just had one in February, in the half term. We had 2 trips, so we try to do it twice a year. What's your name? Ahmed? Abdurrahman. How old are you? 8. MashaAllah. What year are you in? 4. Year 4. MashaAllah. Do you have a prayer area in your schools? No? You do?
Yes.
Is there, what about Jum'ah? What do you do for Jum'ah Friday, please?
Well, if I have a free period, if I have a free period afterwards, I just go to the mosque.
When you come to the mosque, they let you out of the school. Okay, that's good, mashallah. But is there an area where you can do your own Friday prayers and your own salah?
There is a place where you can pray.
Okay, they let you pray.
Yeah.
That's good. What about lunch, school lunch? Is there halal meat?
Well, Well, I go to the sixth form nearby.
Okay.
So you're allowed to leave whenever you want. So if you want to get a lot of food, it's fine.
You're a sixth form student?
Yes.
What are you studying?
Physics, chemistry, maths.
Physics, chemistry, and maths. And yourself?
I'm doing my GCSE this year.
GCSE. Which subjects did you choose?
Sorry?
Which subjects did you choose?
I won't be doing all my GCSEs this year. I've chosen physics, maths, and biology.
Where are the people mostly from in this community? Ethnic backgrounds? Mixed? Majority? Do you know?
No.
You have Asians, Arabs? Bangladesh. And in schools, are there many Muslims in your school?
Yeah, there are quite a few.
I only have one
There's only one Muslim in your school. Is that you?
in my class.
In your class? Where are you from? Which country are you from originally?
Tunisia,
Tunisian. MashaAllah. And the other Muslim, where is he from?
Morocco.
Moroccan. MashaAllah. Are you fasting? Not yet, huh? Next year, inshallah. Any other questions, inshallah? Even from the adults? From the youngsters? Don't be shy to ask, inshallah. Any questions from the young brothers?
What do you do?
Sorry?
What do you do? What do you specialize in?
What do I do? I'm currently a student in the Islamic University of Medina. And I'm just here in my summer holidays. So I usually work with my local mosque in London, doing heading the youth department and teaching and events and lectures and mainly youth projects. Yeah, I was just going to mention that actually. Has anyone heard of the Islamic University of Medina? Put your hand up if you haven't heard of it. Okay, so this university has been established around 60 years ago in Medina. And they have a faculty of Sharia, all Islamic faculty. It's an Islamic university. One of the only Islamic universities that exist in the world. And the good thing about it is it's located in Medina, the Prophet's city. So for those who don't know Arabic, they study Arabic for 2 years. And then they join one of the colleges or the faculties. And they specialize in a subject for 4 years. Either Sharia, or Hadith, or Quran, or Lugha, language, or Da'wah. And it's a full comprehensive program. You get to study Hadith, Aqidah, Tafsir, Lugha, and all of these faculties, fiqh. And the person who graduates from there, usually he gets involved, becomes an imam or a sheikh or a da'i or gets involved in the community. But most importantly, it helps you learn your religion. And alhamdulillah, it's also a scholarship. So you apply there, and if you get accepted, your accommodation, your travel cost gets funded, as well as they give you a monthly allowance as well. So I do recommend the young brothers to learn their religion and to apply. If they get accepted, excellent. Excuse me. If not, or at the time being, they should learn their religion from the mashayikh, the scholars, and the imams and the teachers that exist here. So you can join lessons, you can join courses, you can watch lectures. Take advantage of the English-speaking scholars and imams that exist today. Alhamdulillah, even YouTube you can benefit from the scholars. So I do advise the young brothers to try to attend 2 to 3 lessons a week, lectures in the local masjid, and to benefit from scholars and ask them questions and learn the religion. Because learning the religion is a wajib on us. And the companions, they all learned the religion from the Prophet ﷺ, but they were very eager and determined to learn the religion. We have 5 more minutes, inshallah.
Is there a program for summer?
Summer program.
Yeah.
In Medina. I don't know about any summer programs, but if you do go on Umrah, I believe the visa is 1 month. So you can do your Umrah and then you can visit Medina. In Mecca and Medina, the two holy mosques, there are many lessons every day. From the morning to Dhuhr, there's Kulliyat al-Haram, which is a college inside the Haram. There's chairs located and then there's students around that chair with the scholar and they learn different subjects. After Asr there's lessons, after Maghrib there's lessons, after Isha there's lessons. Alhamdulillah, in this small circle, you walk 2 minutes and you see many famous great scholars. You have a big muhaddith, for example Sheikh Abdul Muhsin Abbad, teaches every day hadith. Finish Bukhari, then Muslim, then the 6th hadith. He'll go through hadiths and he will explain them. Right in front of him you see Sheikh Abdullah ibn Muhammad al-Amin al-Shanqiti, who is a great mufassir. To your right you'll see a great scholar in fiqh. We'll have like 10-15 scholars of different sciences and fields. They give lessons different times, sometimes in the same time. So you have a galaxy, mashallah, of scholars that you can benefit from. And everyone's welcome to sit down and attend these lessons. Obviously they give the lectures in Arabic. So maybe if you don't have Arabic, you should maybe have a translator with you. And the Jum'ah khutbahs is translated. You can put your headphones on and subscribe to the radio channel of the khutbah and you can listen to it in Arabic. In English translation.
Do you do any program for kids?
Any programs for kids? We're in Cambridge, here, or in Mecca and Medina. Yeah, I just told you about one. For his age, for 8-year-olds. Maybe I will let you come with us, inshallah. Just you. Maybe ask your local imam, the mosque, if there's any activities for your age in this local community, inshallah. What do you want to become when you're older, inshallah? You don't know? You'll be a scholar, imam, doctor, inshallah. Okay, I'll take one last question. Anyone has any questions before I catch my train?
Would it count if you listen to the whole Quran in Ramadan?
Instead of reading it? MashaAllah, okay, good question. Someone who listens to Quran, does he get the same reward as someone who reads it? Listen to the Quran has many virtues and many blessings. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَاسْتَمِعُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to listen to the verses. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam himself used to love listening to the Quran. So he asked one of the companions to read the Quran so he can listen to it. So he said, how can I read the Quran to you and the Quran was revealed to you? Who am I to read the Quran to you if the Quran came down on you, O Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? But the Prophet ﷺ, he said, indeed I love to hear the Quran from other people than myself. So likewise we should listen to the Quran, especially when we're in a car or in a bus, we should listen to the Quran. However, reading the Quran yourself, tilawah, has more rewards. And the virtues of reading, as I mentioned, the hasanat part, these are included for the tilawah, recitation of the Quran. This is why we should learn how to read the Quran properly. However, no doubt, inshallah, you will still get lots of rewards and hasanat listening to the Quran. And if you're listening to the Quran also with the intentions of learning how to read it, so you listen to it to learn the ahkam or to learn how to read it, then you're rewarded for that. Aisha radiallahu anha, she narrated that the person who recites the Quran and he is an expert in reciting the Quran, he's got one good deed where he gets rewarded for it. The person who recites the Quran and he struggles while reciting the Quran, he finds it difficult because he's a beginner maybe, and he gets even more rewards. What this means, it should encourage us to not give up. If we read the Quran and we think we're not good enough, we shouldn't just give up. Rather, we should know that Allah is happy with us, that we're trying. That Allah wants us to try. And the more you try, the better you will become. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا لَكَ الْقُرْآنَ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِّرٍ. We have made the Quran easy for you to memorize and to recite. So don't give up. In the beginning, it might be hard. You might recite the Quran with some mistakes. The more you practice, the better you will become. And I would like to advise the brothers to buy a small lamp, keep it next to them before they sleep, and every night make it a must that you read 1 page a day and evaluate yourself. After a few months you will find yourself you improved a lot, and after 1 year you will find yourself much better. The more you read, the better you will become. So keep reading. Listen occasionally, but make your base, make your foundation reciting the Quran. Make that more than listening to the Quran. However, listening to the Quran is good and you will get rewarded for that as well. Any last questions? Or once, or twice? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.